All right, so this is Snow White, 2025. It's the latest Disney live-action remake. This is directed by Mark Webb. I don't like most of these. I actually hate some of them, and this is no different. I did not like this movie, and then that's predictable. This had some controversy around it, with some images that came out that people didn't like, and then also Rachel Zegler, who plays Snow White in this, she had some controversial comments about the original movie that I didn't really care about. I don't really get upset about the things that actors and actresses say in interviews and things like that. I'm not a reactionary. It seems like most of the people who care about that kind of stuff is reactionaries or people who make money off of reactionaries by making multiple videos about it. I'm not one of those people. It's enough of a it's enough of a thing to be outraged about that they make these movies at all. It's very clearly just cash grabs. It's just about money. So in this, we start off with this kingdom. I don't remember if it has a name or whatever, but Snow White is there with her mother and father, the king and queen, and they live in kind of a kingdom. They rule over this kingdom that's kind of it's kind of a fantasy, right? All they do is just dance and sing and make pies for each other, and everybody's all happy, and it's just yeah, it's there's not much to it other than that. But hey, whatever. This is it's Disney. It's a fairy tale. Whatever. But the mother ends up dying. It's Disney. The mother ends up dying, and then we have the evil queen come in, played by Gal Gadot, who then charms the king and ends up with him, and then sends him off somewhere, and then he's never seen from again. And so she takes that opportunity to just become the ruler of this kingdom. And now things are bleak. The people are seemingly depressed, and Snow White is now just like a maid for the kingdom, and she never comes out of the castle, and the people of that kingdom don't even know what she looks like anymore. So just like the original movie, the evil queen wants to be the fairest of them all, and the magic mirror tells her she's the fairest. Up until the point where he's like, "Nah, it's Snow White." So now she's like, "Okay, well, I gotta kill her," and so she has the huntsman go out to the woods with Snow White, and wants him to kill her and put her heart in a box for proof. And she ends up being let go by that huntsman instead because he can't do it, and she ends up meeting the dwarves and staying with them. And so a lot of that is pretty similar to what happens in that original movie, but there's also the whole thing where she has to stand up against the queen along with the people, and there's more of a rebel storyline of taking power away from the oppressive evil queen and things like that. All right, so like I said, I didn't like this. But as far as positives, even though she's been getting all kinds of hell, or catching all kinds of hell online, Rachel Zegler, I think, is good in this. I think she's a good Snow White. Right? She does what she needs to do. There's not much writing here, but she is kind, and it's believable that people like her and things like that. She also has song numbers. The songs in this movie are terrible, but she does a really good job with those songs. I think she's a good singer. And yeah, that's it. Even though she's been catching all kinds of hell, I think she's probably the best part of this movie. That's not really saying much though. I think the look of the movie, other than when they're in that bleak, bland ass kingdom, as a result of what the evil queen has done, how she's ruled over them. When she's in the woods or she's at the dwarves' place and things like that, I think the movie has a nice look to it, nice lighting, there's this color to it. I think the movie has a good look in at least in those points of it. They look like what you would expect a live action version of those things to look like. And this guy, the love interest in this, Jonathan, played by Andrew Burnap, I thought the actor was good, and I thought the character was one of the highlights too. He actually has a character. Once again, he has a song. It's not good, but he's a decent singer. And so, yeah, I thought he was all right. When they actually do get together, it's like, all right, replacing the prince feels like an unnecessary thing to update the movie, so that a prince just doesn't come in and save her. They even have a line of that. Oh, you're waiting for a prince to come save you. So it's very obvious what they're doing with that, but I thought he was all right. All right. All that being said, that's the positives I could come up with. The rest of this movie is just it's bad, and it's also kind of odd. Like clearly there was some production things going on with this because it feels it doesn't even feel like one movie. It feels like it's two movies that are kind of fighting each other for dominance over the film. Like it is odd because you have this whole thing with the queen oppressing the people and things like that. By the way, you have the whole thing with them, the story being told, the background being told at the beginning, with her getting with the king and sending him away and all that other thing, but basically taking over the kingdom. And this is when Snow White is younger, and she's played by Amelia Faulkner. That's the young Snow White actress. She's still young, even even when the queen is fully taken over. It's like she turned the farmers into knights, sent the king away, and he's never come back, and things like that. Seemingly, maybe killed him off. And it feels like she did it in a really short time because of the way the movie's told. And they put so much emphasis on her being this evil queen, but they don't give enough details as to how she's actually ruling this place, right? Why are things so bleak? It seems like the love interest in this, Jonathan, he says, they're stealing bread because they're hungry and things like that. So the people are starving. She's not, I guess, giving them food, but you don't see enough of that. Like she's just kind of surface level evil, but they don't really go into detail as to exactly how she's oppressing this kingdom and how it's gotten to this poor state. Right? They try to expand on that from the original movie, but don't do enough for it to matter. And so you have the whole thing with Snow White having to find her inner strength and bring the people together to go against the queen, the evil oppressive queen, and all that. But then you also have them trying to still make it Snow White. So then awkwardly, even though she hasn't been able to see to leave the castle to the point where and see the people to the point where the people don't even know what she looks like anymore, or if she's even still around. The queen is like, no, 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 take her out to the woods, and she's like jumping around in the woods, not suspicious at all why the queen would even allow this, but whatever. So we can still have the attempt on her life and her being let go and going with the dwarves, and then the dwarves don't feel like they fit in this movie at all, to the point where when you do have that big climax with her standing up to the queen, the dwarves are underneath the kingdom doing fuck all, whatever. I can't even remember what they were doing, but they're suspiciously absent from the climax when all the action is happening. They're just not there. It is such a strange thing. It's like you still want to do what happened in the original movie, but you clearly want to do something else, and so these two things are clashing with each other. It seems pretty obvious to me that originally the dwarves weren't in this movie, and that it was just those bandits from the images that people didn't like. People were like, "Whoa, we're not going to have the dwarves," and it's these. Conveniently, there are 7 of them, and they're bandits. They're a band of bandits that are with the Jonathan character in this. It seems very obvious that Snow White was supposed to leave the kingdom and go stay with them, because then these characters would have character development. In this movie, I think only one of them speaks. It's the littler one. He talks about he's the king of the crossbow, even though he doesn't have a crossbow. That's pretty much the most of what he says too. The other characters are not characters; they're just kind of there. So what it seems like is, originally she was going to go stay with them. They were going to get character development and have some kind of relationship with her, but they decided to have the dwarves, the bad CGI dwarves. They look terrible, and then felt like, oh shit, well now we have to cut the scenes of Snow White being in the woods with them. So now they have pretty much nothing. They've been cut down to the point where they might as well not even be there. It is odd. Like the littler one, the only one that really speaks, there's a point where he's dancing with the black lady in the group, and Snow White's like, hey, what's going on between you two? And they're supposed to, I guess, be in a romance or something, but that lady, she doesn't say anything. She's not a character, and we haven't seen them interact other than them dancing. Everybody's dancing. So where's that coming from? It is fucking odd. It is odd. And Snow White doesn't spend nearly enough time with the dwarves to develop any kind of relationship with them. In the original, she becomes almost like a mother to them, cleans up their place, cooks for them, makes sure that they wash their hands before they eat dinner. And so by the time she eats the apple and falls asleep, it's believable that they came back and was like, oh shit, we're going after this bitch. and after the evil queen dies, them mourning her, putting her in her coffin and legitimately mourning. You feel it in that original movie, whereas here, there's not enough there, and there's so much other shit going on that the relationship with the dwarves just feels completely forced. Gal Gadot as the evil queen. This needs a segment on its own. So she's been getting a lot of shit online about not being a good actress, having bad line delivery, Kalal no, and stuff like that. And I've seen compilations of her giving lines in pretty bad ways, not being that good of an actress when it comes to her line delivery. But I've kind of defended her a little bit because I like her as Wonder Woman, and it does at least partially seem like it's her accent also that kind of affects her line delivery. But at this point, I gotta call it. At this point, I do think she's just a bad actress because oh my God, she is so bad in this. There's plenty of times in this where she's yelling or getting on to somebody and it's completely unconvincing, right? She can't emote. I don't believe that she's feeling the way the character's supposed to feel. And there's the feeling of her having to force these lines out and like just trying to get the line out. And the emotion of the line gets lost in that. It's just she also has a song. The songs in these are terrible. Her song is probably the worst, and she's bad in that. It just I mean, there's not much written for her. The evil queen is just kind of evil for evil's sake, oppressing the people for evil's sake, and then the only part of her that's somewhat somewhat still has an impact is all the parts that were just taken from the original movie with her in the mirror. It's just I'm not mad at this movie, right? I'm just mostly perplexed. Like this is a fucking complete and utter mess. That a complete failure. Production wise, this clearly had some issues. Clearly had some issues. It doesn't feel like a complete movie to me, or just a complete cohesive movie. It just doesn't. But I'm not going to give it my lowest rating, even though I really want to. I'm really struggling not to not do that because I feel like Lion King 2019 is the bar. Right? I feel like if you are even slightly better than that movie, or at least you didn't like piss me off as much, I feel like you deserve to at least not get the lowest rating. So I'll give it trash, but it's real close to my lowest rating. I'm almost certain it'll be on my worst of the year list at the end of the year. But anyway, yeah, that's Snow White 2025. Another pointless bad Disney live action remake. Subscribe, and we're done.